What is up, everybody? This is Hater Radio. My name is Chris McLean. You can obviously tell by my voice and my surrounding, this is not a normal show because yesterday I was at the Florida State game and yelling and screaming as loud as I could be. And I tried coming back early today, but it took me way too long. So I ended up having to do the show here in St. Pete while I'm in my rental car. So here it is. This is the show. I'm going to do it as best I can. I only have myself, so it's just me to be able to do the show. But I definitely want to talk about that Florida State game. I have a lot of friends on Facebook that love to go after me from this game, specifically the Florida State fans. And you know what? Hey, man, I get it. You know what? You guys haven't won anything in a long time. And so, you're 12-0. Congratulations. But the likelihood of you guys getting to the playoff is very slim, considering that you lost your starting quarterback and your backup came in and struggled against a 7-loss team. So the chances of you guys actually getting to the playoff are very slim. And it doesn't help the fact that Louisville lost yesterday to Kentucky in a close one. So having a 2-loss team that you beat in a conference championship game is not a great resume patter, I guess. So I don't think the chances are very good for Florida State to get in the playoff, but that's for a later discussion. Let's talk about the fact that Florida was winning this game up until the fourth quarter for, I'd say, 90% of the time. And, if they hit 2 field goals, which Trace Mack was capable of hitting long field goals throughout the year, he struggled in this game, missing 2 of them, which would have made the game roughly like a 21-14 game. And so, obviously things didn't go that way. He missed both those field goals. And in both of those field goals, there were mistakes by Florida where there were flags, I believe a delay of game on one, and then the other one was a holding call on a run by Montrell Johnson that put them back, and it made the field goal a little bit harder. So, I'm very glad that the defense came to play, because that would have been the biggest disappointment if they didn't show out in this game. It's obviously a rivalry game. You need to have some kind of push there on defense, or you're not going to be able to win the game. And they came through. They had a lot of stops. They had a lot of tackle for losses. They got that safety, close to getting picks, just, all out throughout the entire game. They were playing really well. I mean, if Devin Moore is in the game, like, as much as he could be, it's probably a different story with some of it, because Devin Moore went out for a good portion of it. And, Devin Moore was definitely the best corner that Florida has. But Jason Marshall looked pretty good for the most part. I can't remember the freshman's name. He's number 4. It might be Jackson. I can't remember sure, but he came in, had some solid plays. Jordan Castell played great. That personal foul, that spitting, I don't know what was going on there. I saw it on TV on the replay. It doesn't look good. Obviously stupid. I don't know what you're doing there, because that honestly was really the impetus for Florida State to get back into the game, because they had done nothing up at that point. I think they were still scoreless. They start moving the ball because that penalty gives them life. I think Florida had actually stopped them for a tackle for loss on Benson. So there was a chance there where Florida could have stopped that drive and maybe get out of that half, shutting out Florida State, which would have been remarkable. I know people had talked about the flea flicker. It's like a double reverse flea flicker that was very ugly, that just, I don't know, very uncalled for. Didn't make any sense. Like, they were inside the 50 off the safety, off the return from the safety, and they should have, just ran it down their throats, because they were running it down their throats almost the entire game. You know, I know Etienne and Montreal went out at some point because at near the in the fourth quarter, Treon Webb came in, and like he hasn't played much at all, let alone with the game on the line in a rivalry game. It was just surprising that he was in there, and I didn't even realize they were hurt until I tweeted out and asking people, because in the stadium you can't really tell. So just, I mean, Max Brown did as best as he could. He's a freshman. The O-line just struggled mightily for Florida. With, you know, credit to Florida State for getting in there and making plays. But I mean, Florida's O-line has been the issue all year. And, you know, but I think if Max, I mean, I don't know if Max could have done any better. I think that was his best he could do with the circumstances. But I think if Graham Mertz is in that game, I think Graham Mertz probably throws for like 300 yards and Florida wins pretty easily. And if Jordan Travis is there, it's probably a closer game, and it's probably like a 28-24 Florida State game. But like, I don't know, man. I wish that I don't know, because there was obviously some controversial calls. I know my friend Pete Bolin loves to talk about the hit on the quarterback, but after I was looking at the replay, it looked like it was probably because it was like hands to the face, and so maybe they just didn't call it correctly. I didn't see any reports anywhere, but it looked like he hit him in the head with his hands. So like that's technically a 15-yarder. So I don't know what the hullabaloo is out, but definitely that Keon Coleman catch or pass interference on Jaden Hill was definitely on Keon Coleman. Like there was no chance that was defensive pass interference. Coleman pushes off on Hill and gets the call, and that was a huge turning point in that drive for Florida State. I believe they kicked the field goal. I can't remember for sure which drive that was, but it was a huge call because I believe it was on third down too. And you know, I don't know. I was not impressed with Florida State in this game. I really didn't think they played that well. I thought Florida was the better team for 90% of the game. They should have won. You know, the energy in the crowd was just crazy. It was, you know, people were pumped. I was jacked up. The people next to me were high-fiving me. Some old lady in her wheelchair was high-fiving me. Like, it was, dude, it was great. And it was funny because the FSU crowd and their band were doing their war chant, and it was like real loud at first, but then, man, from the first, second, and third, it was like you could barely hear it at all. Like I don't even think I heard it after like the first couple of drives, and it was like silent. And they started playing again once they started getting ahead, but it was like, I was like, man, it was a real opportunity for Florida to get to bowl eligibility. They lose here. Florida State wins 24-15, and now, you know, Florida's going to have to figure things out going forward, especially with Ricky Purcell leaving and probably some transfers and whatnot. Obviously, Billy Napier's going to stay. He's not going anywhere. If the recruiting class stays well and they can keep most of the people that are there, that are in campus right now, they should be fine next year because a lot of the players are getting experience. So we'll see what happens in the off season and then, you know, this coming signing day as well. But Florida State moves on. They're 12-0. They play Louisville. Like I said, folks, I do not think they're going to make the playoff. You know, I may be wrong, but just looking at what the evidence is, and I'll break it down for you real quick if you don't know, because if you're a Florida State fan, you don't know because you're ignorant, because you all are ignorant because you don't know anything about college football. You only know about your team. So what it is Georgia, Alabama. One of those is going in, the winner of that. And potentially, if Alabama beats Georgia, both of them could get in. Then Washington, Oregon, one of those could get in, but it could be both get in because they're one loss and their resumes are better. All four of those teams' resumes are way better than Florida State's, hands down. And then Michigan, if they win against Iowa, they're in for sure. So that's 5 teams right now that I'm talking about that probably have better resumes than Florida State. Texas has a better resume than Florida State, and Texas will get a chance to beat Oklahoma State, who has a 3-loss team and a victory against Oklahoma. So, you know what? I'm sorry, Florida State. I know you think you're a good team, but you play a soft schedule. You played LSU. That's great. They're a 3-loss team. That's not a great victory. Texas beat Alabama. Alabama's a one-loss team on the road in Tuscaloosa. LSU, it was a road game or a neutral site game in Orlando, in Florida. So it's not like it's that big of a deal, you know? I don't know. I mean, you know, you played Clemson, they're a 4-loss team. You played Duke without their quarterback and has had several losses. You barely beat BC. You should have probably lost to BC. Yeah, and you barely beat Clemson. You probably should have lost to Clemson. If Riley Leonard is healthy, you lose to Duke. You played bad against Pitt, and Pitt's a terrible team. And you know what's even worse for that with that Pitt team is the fact that they beat Louisville. So now it looks even worse that this Louisville team has lost to Pitt and to Kentucky. I mean, come on. You're not going to get any credit here for any of these wins because they're all terrible. You know, if you beat someone on non-conference like, I don't know, Oregon or Washington or Michigan or Ohio State, something like that, one of the top-level teams, Georgia, Alabama, people would give you credit for it. But you beat a team, LSU, that's a 3-loss team that, you know, struggled against a ton of teams. I don't know. You know, I know you can say SEC bias, but, you know, there's a reason that the SEC's won like 15 championships in the last 20 years, and the ACC only has 3. And so, you know, the ACC is just a garbage conference. It's just what it is. And the reality is you fans, Florida State fans, don't understand that. And that's just, hey, man, you're going to have to deal with reality here. And so I know I might be wrong, but you know, I've seen other media already talk about it, saying that Florida State is not going to be there come playoff time. So just saying, man, I'm not being a dick. I'm just telling the truth. I know you don't want to hear it because all you Florida State fans just think, oh, my team's the best. My team's the best. And that's literally all you guys ever do is like think about your own team, but you never actually look into what other teams are doing, and you have no knowledge base. You just base it off whatever your emotions are towards your team, which is sad. So anyways, moving on to USF-Charlotte. The boys get it done. They had bowl eligibility on the line. They win. Let me see what the score was. I didn't get it. Did I not? I don't think I got it. Or maybe I did. I didn't get it. I forgot the score, but it was big. It was like something like 49 or something to like 17. They destroyed Charlotte. They were up big like the entire time. You know, Byram just had a great game. You know, even Sean Atkins got in the mix with throwing the ball. He had a nice throw for a touchdown with a lot of yak on it. Joyner had some touchdowns. The defense had some interceptions. There was, you know, a lot of long runs. Simmons had a nice one-handed TD. Just great win. Alex Golish, what can I say, man? Guys about my age, I really appreciate the work he's putting in at USF. It is my alma mater. I worked there in the compliance department, the athletics department many years ago. And, you know, I'm glad to see the potential of where this is going because, you know, just getting this win is not just, you know, yeah, it's bowl eligibility, but it's like the future looks so bright. Like, you know, 6-6, you have a quarterback who's in the like top 6 or 8 in the country for total offense. Just a freak, everything. And, you know, the offense is just this offense in the country. They put up tons of points. They just need to get defensive players, and I think they will. who wouldn't want to come play for USF now? And it's like, the training facilities are getting better, the campus stadium, recruiting in the conference, in the American. It's just a lot of, I can't wait, get through, because he's going to put this team over the top, and he's young enough to where he can stay time, and it's going to be really excited for this, because he could leave. So I think he knows the area is a great place to live. If he goes to like one of these other kind of bigger schools, they're in like crappy towns. At least this is a great town. There's a lot to bring to the table. And then he knows also that the on-campus stadium is coming, which will be a huge difference maker for facilities, for everything. So excited for the guys, bowl eligible, and it's a great feeling. And it's been a long time coming, because I think it was 2018 was the last bowl game. So it's been a long time. So we'll see what happens in the bowl game, but great year, 6-6. Can't argue with the results. Okay, UCLA, Cal. This is for Richard. Richard, I hope you're watching. So Garbers started. He got hurt. Dante comes in, throws an interception in the red zone. Cal starts hitting field goals. They were turning over on downs. They were moving the ball against Cal early, but they just couldn't convert. They couldn't score. And, Cal just, they actually did take the lead 7-6, but then on a kickoff return for a touchdown, they go up 13-7 13-7, and Cal just never looked back. They end up winning 33-7 and just, smoked them. And I don't know. I know there's a lot of talent with Dante. He's definitely very gifted, but he's struggled mightily this year, and he'll probably take this off season to work on a lot of things, and maybe it's the best thing for him to grow as a quarterback. And, I can see, the next couple of years him doing better, but this is just growing pains, and, they still have a chance to get 8 wins, which would be a great year regardless, considering what they've had to deal with quarterback-wise. So not the end of the world for UCLA, but definitely a terrible way to end the regular season, at least. Okay, last couple of games I have, I'm going to do really quick because I'm very tired. I've been traveling all over Florida for the last couple of days since I've been here, and I'm ready to go home and see my fiance and my little pooch Max. But I'll talk about these games and then end it real quick. So Thursday we had Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Ole Miss wins 17-7. Dude, Lane Kiffin, 10-2. I don't think many people realize that Ole Miss has not won more than 10 games a lot of times. Like, this is a huge accomplishment at a school that has been around forever and has had very little sustained success over their history. And so Lane has proven that he can win there. I don't know if he'll end up taking a bigger job because he seems fine there, but the recruiting has not gotten insanely better there. So he's kind of is where he is. He's going to be like 9-3, 10-2 at Ole Miss, and I don't think he's going to get any better. I don't think he's going to get over the hump unless he can start recruiting at a higher clip, which at this point he's already been there since 2020, so that's 4 seasons. So I don't think it's going to happen. TCU, Oklahoma. Oklahoma goes off, wins 69-45. You know what? Oklahoma has a really great year at 10-2, considering that they were 6-7 last year. This is a phenomenal job by Brent Venables. I don't think a lot of people have given him credit for the year that they've had, considering the struggles they had all year. Dylan Gabriel has had a really good year. He was like flirting with potentially being a Heisman candidate. Their offense is solid. The defense got a lot better. They gave up a lot of points in yesterday, but still, this Oklahoma team is going to be a good team the next couple of years. And moving to the SEC is a really big deal for them. They're going to challenge probably immediately, which is great for them. I don't know who they have in the pipeline for quarterback play, and I'm not sure if Dylan Gabriel has an extra year or not, but he definitely, if he wanted to stay, he could, definitely make a difference there for Oklahoma. But either way, this Oklahoma team is trending up, and you can see this team definitely getting into a big bowl this offseason or this postseason, and continue the trend upwards. Okay, next one, Iowa, Nebraska, just a low-scoring, boring Big Ten garbage. I don't know how people like this stuff. I cannot watch these. These are terrible games to watch. They're not fun. I do not enjoy them. So Iowa wins 13-10. They claim the Big Ten West. So now it'll be Iowa, and then what we'll talk about in a second, the other team, Michigan. So Iowa, Michigan in the Big Ten championship. So we'll see what happens there. Tulane, UTSA for AAC purposes. Tulane wins 29-16. Solid victory. UTSA definitely a threat there because offensively they're pretty strong, but Tulane muscles them there and claims the a spot in the AAC championship game. And I believe they're playing SMU, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, these other games are great too. Oregon State, Oregon, but Oregon blows out Oregon State, which I was surprised. I thought this game was going to be a lot closer. Oregon wins 31-7. This Oregon team, I'm telling you though, man, is really, really good. I know a lot of people don't follow the Pac-12, especially the ones that I know personally, people in my life, because they're usually East Coast and they don't pay attention to the West Coast games. Well, this Oregon team, the offense is very efficient and very explosive. Franklin's a stud wide receiver. Bo Nix is definitely going to New York for the Heisman presentation. If he wins, who knows? But regardless, that defense is strong too. So Oregon has a real shot. I think they're favored right now. I think like a 5.5 favorite. Someone was saying online that they think that Michael Penix Jr. is hurt, and that's why Oregon is favored. It could be. I haven't heard anything yet, so I don't know for sure. I'll look into it, and I will give you more information on the preview show for conference championship games on Wednesday. Next game we have was the big game, Ohio State, Michigan, and it lived up to its billing. It was a really good game. I watched the whole highlight package. It was back and forth. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a really good game. Corum played well. McCarthy had some really nice throws, and I know I've been, not a big fan of McCarthy, so I will grant him there. Michigan makes plays. They forced turnovers by McCord. They were definitely the stronger team and deserved to win, and they win 30-24. So now they go on to the Big Ten championship game with a chance to get to the playoffs. So all that craziness that went on with Jim Harbaugh and the stealing of the signs and using that information against other teams now comes out here without him the last 3 games, and they win this game pretty convincingly. And now they move on to, they should beat Iowa. I have no doubt in my mind that they should probably beat Iowa by like 30 points just because Iowa's offense is non-existent and Michigan's defense is pretty solid. And so Michigan's going to be able to at least move the ball. I don't know how Iowa's defense is going to do against Michigan's offense. That's kind of the deciding factor there because Iowa's defense is strong too, but Michigan should be able to move the ball effectively enough. I mean, I guess at first glance I was saying like it should be a 30-point game, but maybe it'll be a lot closer, and maybe it's going to be more like a 14-7 game or something like that, or like 17-7. Just because that's what a lot of the games that Iowa plays. That's the scores. The scores are very low scoring. If you don't know about Iowa, because Iowa's obviously not a very sexy team that people talk about. So, but they are, I believe, 10-2. So, it's kind of crazy how well they've done under the radar considering how bad their offense is. Okay, last couple of ones. We'll get out of here real quick. So, Kentucky, Louisville. Like I said, Kentucky wins 38-31. I was so surprised by this one. I turned it on late to find out that Louisville was losing in that one, which I was totally surprised by. And then Louisville had tied it late, but then Kentucky came back and put one in, and just crazy. I'm totally surprised by that one. And now Louisville's 10-2, so it ruins Florida State's chances there. If they were 11-1 in that game, I know they had the Pitt loss, but 11-1 looks a lot better than 10-2 with losses to Pitt and to Kentucky. Just saying it, just putting it out there. Speaking of other games with conference championship game stuff on the line, BYU, Oklahoma State. In double overtime, Oklahoma State wins 40-34. So this Oklahoma State team that lost to South Alabama, that lost to I'm trying to think of the other team they lost to. I think it was Iowa State. And then they lost recently to someone else. And so they had 3 losses, but it was only 2 Big 12 losses. So that meant that they tied with Oklahoma. And because they had the head-to-head against Oklahoma, that they go. So remarkable job by Gundy, considering that they had fallen off. Once they lost to South Alabama, I stopped paying attention to them, and I didn't really cover most of their games because they were playing against a lot of softer teams. So it was whatever. And then they went up against Oklahoma and played really well and beat them. And it's just, you never know what can happen. And then now they have a chance to get into a big bowl game. So good for them. Gundy is proving he has been a very good coach for a very long time. And he's been at Oklahoma State for almost 20 years now, which is crazy to think about that, especially when he had that outburst that long ago when he was like, "I'm a man, I'm 40." Oh, God, that's so hilarious. But anyways, Alabama-Auburn, the Iron Bowl, I wish I had been able to watch this one, obviously doing a lot because I was trying to get some footage for Hater Radio. And I saw part of the last drive on my phone, and Alabama was driving. Time was winding down. They were getting closer. And then I didn't see it, but 4th down and 4th and goal up and 30 yards away, and Milroe throws a strike and they catch it. That is the craziest way to win a game outside of, and I hate this word, but the kick 6, because everyone knows what it is. It shouldn't be kick 6. It should be return 6, because that's what it is. You're returning a kick for 6 points. Anyways, that's my tangent. But remarkable win, and it's partly Bama's revenge for that kick 6. So, Bama's still winning, and this Auburn team is good, man. I know they obviously lost in New Mexico State, but New Mexico State isn't as bad as people think. And then also Auburn smoked Arkansas and then played very well against Georgia. So they are capable of playing against teams. They don't end with the best record, but, Bama, 11-1, going up against Georgia next week. I'm excited for this one. This is always a big game when these two go up against each other. Playoff chances on the line. If Bama wins, they're likely in. If Georgia wins, they're definitely in. So a lot on the line in the SEC championship game. I'm excited for that one. Okay, moving on. Washington State, Washington. So another game with implications on the line regarding the playoffs. Washington wins 24-21 with a last-second field goal. Just craziness. I cannot believe the way it ended. I obviously didn't get to watch it because I was in the game watching the Florida State game. But just to keep their season alive, their playoff chances. I'm excited for Michael Penix because he comes from the Tampa Bay area, and I really hope they can do it. I think they can beat Oregon, but allegedly there might be an injury, so there's an issue there. So obviously we'll have to wait and see in the next couple of days. But it sets up a huge game. I'm excited for that one. Washington, Oregon. You got Bama, Georgia. There's going to be a lot of big games. Even the Texas Oklahoma State game is going to have some juice as well, because Texas has the playoff chances on the line as well. Last three: Georgia, Georgia Tech. Georgia wins 31-23. I believe in that game. I didn't see the highlights because I did limited time today, but Georgia was up decently, and I think Georgia Tech came back in the fourth to make it more of a game, but Georgia gets the win 31-23. Texas Tech. Texas destroys them 57-7, setting up their big game against Oklahoma State with a very good chance of getting in the playoff, especially with that huge win on their resume against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Last one, SMU beats Navy 59-14, which I think puts them in the AAC championship game. So we'll talk about the championship games on Wednesday. That'll be the conference championship preview game day. Besides that, that is the show. You can catch us at Hater Radio, at Hater_radio on all the socials, on Twitter, X, Insta, Threads, TikTok. For Facebook, it is Hater Radio CFB. For YouTube, it is at Hater Radio. And then for all of our articles, it is haterradio.com. You can reach us on email, haterradio1@gmail.com. Ian's not here tonight. He'll probably be back Wednesday. That's the show. I'll be back in LA on Wednesday too as well. So I'll be in the studio. Enjoy your weekend. It was a great week of football. It's going to be another great weekend, but this is officially the end of the regular season. So we have a lot less show to do the last couple of weeks. So it'll be shorter shows for the next month and a half. And then that's it. And then I go dormant I won't be doing shows until the start of the next season. So this is it. The season's winding down, but it's been a fun one. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay.